Right, well, on our way to Santa Pod with the twin turbo Range Rover. Obviously we're not running a 10-second car, so we're not expecting to set the world on fire here, but I've always said it'll be a bit of a giggle. We've not built the car obviously for drag racing, we've not got big horsepower numbers, it was always about torque and towing. Oddly enough, we're not using it to tow, obviously. Hopefully if we don't break it for the day, yeah, there she is. If we don't break it up today, which we shouldn't, we'll probably switch cars and actually use it to tow back with, because it'll be far better for us, and that's what I built it for. The reason I'm towing it is because my anxiety levels, I'd much rather break it and be able to tow at home than have to phone someone to come and get me. So I just figured it was take a bit of stress out of the day and tow it down, have a trailer on the go. We know we're running about 7 seconds 0 to 60 on the road. I've had a look at kind of figures of similar vehicles and quarter-mile times, and I'm going to take a punt and say that we'll probably, hopefully, be in the 15s.
Is that a direct quote, or is that a...
you know, we might edit this bit out if it's wrong. Should mention here as well, I've got my friend Sam on camera duties today, so we should get some flybys. We won't be going that fast, you won't be getting whiplash as you turn around. Thanks for coming down, Sam.
Not a problem.
Give me a hand, because getting to be outside the vehicle at the same time as in it is an impossibility, obviously. ETs, I think high 80s maybe. We certainly won't be pushing 110, which is the limit for wearing a safety helmet, and we won't be going up into the high 100s, so we definitely don't need a parachute. On our way there, we'll yeah, there you are. What's the ETA?
Hang on.
You're blurry.
I'm blurry.
Yeah, we're about 42 minutes. Should be there about 10 to 9. I think the track opens about 9:30, so it'll give us plenty of time to unload. We've just fueled ourselves up with a Macca's. See you there. That's a 445 horsepower Audi. Oh, wicked. I think he missed a gear, which probably cost him, but still. Okay, obviously I'm watching these videos through as I edit them and having a chance to review them a bit. So, yeah, 1 second reaction time. I wasn't worried about the reaction time at all. I told myself that at the beginning so I didn't mess up the launch. It's quite a soft launch here at 2,500 RPM. However, as we'll see later on, it doesn't really matter whether I'm launching at that or at stall converter. At the torque converter stall, which is just under 3,000 RPM on my car now. The Audi did miss a gear, second to third. He told me later on we were chatting. Yeah, he messed it up big time. He later went on to run like a 12 second something at 120 mile an hour, so quite a reasonable power car there. As you can tell at the end of the quarter, I was well chuffed, chuckling to myself. I wasn't aware of my time, but the feeling of being on the track is a good feeling. I've only ever done it once before in a Nissan I had, and had a couple of runs at a Jap show like 18 years ago. I'd put a 2 litre in a Nissan 100NX, and I think my best time in that was like a 15.3 or a 15.4. So my mate Sam phoned me at the end of the run in the Range Rover, and he said, go on, guess. So I said, well, you know, I'm hoping it's a 15, so let's say like a 15.8. And he said, well, it is a 15, but there's a 0 after the decimal point. Obviously, I was over the moon at that point to run a 15.0. Yeah, straight out of the bag. Well happy.
Luckily, my half-track drove around the Range Rover with 79.69, probably 14.09. I drove at 15.29, that's pretty. I drove at 15.29, that's pretty. I drove at 15.29, that's pretty.
Pretty what? Pretty slow? Pretty pathetic? Didn't sound like he was down, it sounded like he was up. Pretty cool? Pretty fast? Who knows? Right then, on our way back from pod, we'll determine tomorrow if we've got pod face from the sunshine and not putting any cream on because it was cold and windy. But really good day. First run out, 15.03, which obviously meant I then had to push for a high 14. The first run, as you'll see, was in just normal gearbox mode. So thought we'd give it a bit of a sports box mode. Unfortunately didn't shift 2 to 3 particularly well then. Although the 60 foot did improve by about 0.04 seconds. And then on the third run that we got in, we were, again, I ran it in sort of normal mode rather than sports mode. But for some reason the 2-3 shift sort of gave a bit of a stall on me that time as well. So the first run out was the best run. We certainly weren't heat soaked, we've been having the bonnet open and actually the engine temperatures have been really nice. So yeah, really pleased with the outcome. We decided not to switch over the tow vehicle. It's been a long day. We were meant to start racing at, what did they say, 9:30? Yeah. And they started, they opened the track, gone 11. So to get 3 runs in, we've actually pushed right past 4 o'clock. So rather than then faffing about switching cars around, number plates, and yeah, we just decided that food's more important. It's tempting to bring it back, maybe look at controlling the gearbox a different way and pushing into 14s. However, I've got to stop myself doing that because of the MG project that I've already introduced briefly. I don't need to turn this into a drag race car, although it would be quite fun. You know, we could strip it out, make it lighter, winch bumper off, etc. Shed some weight, give it some more horsepower, change the intake setup. As tempting as that would be and as fun it would be, I think the MG build has got to take priority for the drag car.
Ian, you do have to give yourself a bit of credit. You did beat a Porsche off the line, a Skyline off the line, and an Audi off the line, all in a 2.5 ton Range Rover.
Yeah, and I saw most of them to about 50-55, I think. It was pretty good fun. I think a couple of them, certainly the Skyline was building boost on the line. I knew he was just going to whistle past, so I knew I had to do something offline just to get a lead, but really good fun. The 60 foot is impressive. Actually, we had quite a lot of people come up, haven't we, and say, this just gets off the line and goes. Everyone's been very impressed with that. It's just a shame it's shaped like a brick. So much past 60-70 mile an hour, she's struggling, but yeah. No, cheers Sam.
All right, mate.
Thanks. Okay, so yeah, having watched back all the videos, in particular the dash cam I had set up, I'm not sure that there was any issue with the 2-3 shift or any bogging or anything. I think you know, it's just a little bit of inconsistency in the car over a quarter mile. Certainly in the earlier stages of the track, it's incredibly consistent, which, considering it's an electronically controlled auto gearbox, it's 4-wheel drive, so there's not going to be any slip off the line. And you know, the engine's set up and runs consistently, so you know, it's just aerodynamics. You know, if the wind was head on, that could make a bit of a difference by that stage. Tiny little differences can make a reasonable change, so 15 to a 15.2 to a 15.3, you know, at the quarter mile. In terms of the beginning of the track, so I've got the slip here that shows all 3 runs. 60 foot on the 3 runs. I had a 2.09, a 2.05, and then a 2.07. So really quick and consistent there for what it is. 330 foot, again, really consistent, 6.10, 6.12, and a 6.11. On the 8th, we had 9.53 seconds to 9.63, and then again a 9.63. The mile an hour on the 8th, the first run was 71 mile an hour. The mile an hour on the 8th, on the second and third run, were both 69 miles an hour, a 0.4 and a 0.1. And then obviously the ETs were 15 seconds, being a 15 flat, or I'm calling a 15 flat anyway, 15.29 and a 15.32. 88.7 mile an hour on the first run, and then 86.20 precisely on both the second and third runs. So yeah, really pleased with the results. The data logger I'm building, which I showed in my previous video, that could have actually shed a little bit more light on things for me, you know, whether the air-fuel ratios were slightly different, whether it did shift at a slightly different RPM. If I'm logging RPM on that, it would be more precise RPM than the rev counter. So certainly, you know, without any lag, it delay in the rev counter and that sort of thing. So the data logger would certainly help in determining what made that slight difference of like 1.5 mile an hour at the quarter mile and 0.2 or 0.3 seconds. So yeah, thanks for watching. As I said earlier in this video, because I wasn't expecting to tag this or Sam on the end either. Yeah, I'm not sure what the next video will hold, but it'll be one of our projects. So if you're interested, keep watching.